I am Halli Casser-Jayne, and welcome to the Halli Casser-Jayne Show, a podcast akin to the great salons of times past. Pour yourself a martini, grab a spot on your favorite sofa, and listen to the great artists, writers, politicians, and celebrities of our day discuss and debate the current political and economic scene, art and music, film, literature, or maybe talk about the newest trends in fashion, design, and haute cuisine. Whether it's the current political cocktail or the latest must-read award-winning book, we tackle all topics and like to stir and sometimes shake things up. On this episode of the Halli Casser-Jayne Show, we're all things politics with Podcast America, our weekly politics segment in which veteran White House correspondent Matthew Cooper and I slice and dice the current political landscape. This week's focus, you win some, you lose some, but change is a-comin' to Washington, D.C. and Donald Trump's life. A day following the midterm elections 2018, I, along with my partner in politics, journalist Matthew Cooper, take a look at the state of the nation after the historical vote that put the Democratic Party back in control of the House of Representatives, but allowed Republicans to maintain control of the Senate. What does it all mean for the future of American politics? Stay tuned and enjoy the Halli Casser-Jayne Show. Let's get to it. As we do every week, newsman Matthew Cooper joins me for our politics segment, Podcast America. And what a week it has been. Democratic stars Andrew Gillum in Florida, Stacey Abrams in Georgia, and Beto O'Rourke in Texas were spotlight races because they seemed impossible to win. True, Gillum and O'Rourke didn't quite pull it off. The race has yet to be called for Abrams. The blue wave really was a wave, but not quite as big a wave as pollsters thought. The Democrats took back the House after 8 years, and the Republicans maintained control of the Senate. Democrats Claire McCaskill and Heidi Heitkamp are out of the Senate. Longtime Senator Nelson's race against Governor Rick Scott is in recount. It appears health care has been saved, and in January, Democrats get subpoena power. The Robert Mueller investigation will be protected. History will be made when a ton of Democratic women and minorities will take their place in Congress and in state houses in both blue and red states. Yes, Democrats permeated the red wall, and what has been called Trumpism might be on the run. And yes, it is true. You win some, you lose some. But whatever way you slice and dice it, change is a-coming to Washington, D.C. and Donald Trump's life. So we begin here, Matt. God, what a night, right? I want to tell everybody that we are going to tape around 11:20. A lot of it hasn't been called yet, but a lot has. These wonderful midterm elections. The news of the night from me, Matt, is that we're finally going to get a chance, a better than likely chance that we get to see Donald Trump's tax returns. I think that because the Democrats have retaken the House for the first time, darling, in 8 years, I think it is.
Yep.
But it's been a weird night as far as I'm concerned. But again, the good news, we have government where there's a check on Trump's power. That's exciting to me. The one thing before I turn it over to you is I think there are some systemic problems in this country we thought went away. I think they're back. They never really went away. Okay, that's what I have to say. And Mr. Matthew, your turn.
Well, I think we finally get to see, how the country would, we've had a lot of protests about Trump. We've had a lot of, people upset about him. And now we got to see, what people would do when given the chance to send a message about Trump. And, I think the suburbs spoke pretty loudly that the affluent suburbs are a very tough place for Republicans, not universally, but that's where the Democrats made their biggest gains in kind of urban America and suburban America. And at the same time, kind of rural America, doubled down on Trump. And So I think still a very divided country, but now one with some, as you said, some institutional checks on Trump's power and a lot of investigative power that can be turned on Trump.
So we're really have we really made any gains, so to speak? Because at the bottom line, the vote is in the same place that it was before. It's the rural against the city, the country mouse and the city mouse.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to me how I was watching I was going back and forth all the channels, of course, but I was watching, they kept saying, well, these were Hillary districts and Hillary this, Hillary that. And I thought, that was the standard bearer because, if Hillary had won, she would have won more districts or whatever.
Right.
So I thought that was kind of a weird thing to be doing. But the fact of the matter is that, the vote wasn't it along those lines, except in maybe the Midwest, and we'll talk about that in a minute. What really shifted here was just that Democrats, in urban areas said, well, we better vote, and vote they did, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think you look at a place like Minnesota, they're going to have the same split of Democrats and Republicans in their delegation to the U.S. House, but some of the districts just flipped. So ones where you had sort of suburban Republican moderates are now Democrats, and a couple of the rural districts that had been held by Democrats are now in Republican hands, and that sort of is how the map is firming up. But I think there were things tonight that everybody that Republicans could still brag about. They kept the governorship of Ohio, which looks very competitive. They're going to gain some seats in the Senate. So, they had some things where they're going to, instead of doing a big soul searching after this, I think you're left with a more Trumpian Republican Party. The moderates are getting shot down, such as they were. And, I think, that's one of the lessons they're going to draw in the Republican Congress.
Well, they're going to spin it the best way they can, but they did lose the House, but
they're going to say the reason we lost the House is because of these squishes, these squishy moderates like we just had.
Of course, I mean, but that's spin. But listen to me. Spin is just beginning, and gamemanship is just beginning, because you know what Trump is going to do with all of this. He's going to say, the Dems retaking the House. This is going to give him a new foil, Okay, and the boogeyman is now going to be, guess who? Nancy Pelosi. The wackadoodles in the House. I mean, in a way, he winds up with a new foil and somebody new to play if the Dems are stupid. I do think, Matt, the most interesting thing for me in terms of this tonight was, just before we started to record, is the Dems came out fighting that they did intend to get after Trump's tax returns. I mean, that was like, they were speaking that red meat for their folks. Okay, we're not afraid. Here we go. We're going after it. And I think then you get into, how are they going to play the ownership of the House? Are they going to play dirty? Are they going to play nice? Are they going to be typical Democrats? The Dems always seem to fold and play.
Well, right. I mean, I think they're going to, in the absence of getting much done, they're going to, this investigative stuff will really, drive the House. And, because I don't see a lot of legislation. I don't see, Trump kind of pivoting and doing an infrastructure bill.
He's going to be nicer, though. He's going to be a kinder, gentler Mr. Trump. Didn't he tell us that the day before the election?
Yes.
Right? I'm going to be kinder. I'm going to be gentler.
Yeah. I can be so presidential. I can be so presidential. Watch.
Hey, you do a really good Trump. Wait a minute here. I never do this. Give me that Trump. No, I mean, it makes me have to ask the question, what is, the best way for the Dems to do it? Can they be ruthless in all of this? Because here's my point. And we'll get into more of this, and who won what and who lost what. But I want to get into this first, and that is, if you think about this, 2020 is right around the bend. right around the bend. It begins tomorrow morning. And after watching what happened tonight, I'm not sure that they can ever beat Trump, the Dems. So that gives them 4 more years, assuming he survives Mueller. So the only way for them to get rid of Trump is from the House. And I have not heard anybody discuss that. I think it's fair to discuss that now. What are your thoughts?
You mean impeaching him, or?
Well, forget impeachment. They'll take him out so bad because he'll walk away in shame. I mean, there is so much to get this guy on with the investigative arm.
Donald Trump will walk away in shame?
No, listen to what I'm saying. No, you're not hearing what I'm saying. I'm saying Adam Schiff, as House Intelligence Committee, can really go after him painfully. Whether they'll get, they can't impeach him. They're not going to get an impeachment out of the Senate. So they're not going to get an impeachment. But they might be able to take him out and find the goods.
No, I know what you're saying. I just, that's possible, I guess. But I don't know. It depends what they get, right? But I would. Well,
would you say there's stuff there to play with besides what Mueller might come up with?
Yeah, sure. I mean, obviously the Trump enterprises are a big black hole, and, the emoluments clause, and God knows what else has been going on. So, sure, I mean, they got a lot to investigate. Whether it's enough to sort of create a consensus that Trump should resign, I don't think we're there. But
I'm saying they will have the ability to look and investigate and
no
go
question.
into, which they have not had.
Subpoena power,
and my guess is they know more than we know even now.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot to work with, and we still don't know what Mueller has. So I agree. I mean, it's and that goes to my point earlier. They're not going to get laws signed. So this is what they're going to do,
right? And I don't think that's wrong. I mean, there are other times
it's a smart thing to do.
Right.
I mean, they should keep sending the Senate lots of bills that will embarrass them about,
Well, you can't embarrass them any more than you can Trump.
Anything that's popular.
I mean, these guys have no shame. You were absolutely right when you said that to me, and I'm going to say it right back. Either do these dudes in the Senate. Nobody has any shame amongst these things, but I do think that that's an important part of it. I thought the Dems are always smart by squelching the impeachment conversation because they knew that would only work against them. But as I say, I think there's something there. Let's talk about some of what did happen tonight, though, because I think some of this is just utterly fascinating. Very. Your favorite race, your favorite thing that you want to talk about is?
Oh, gosh. Well, I guess some of these suburban races where Republicans got knocked off. There was one in Oklahoma tonight that was on nobody's radar. A couple in the Northeast, like in New York, where Anthony Delgado, who's African-American and a Rhodes Scholar, but had been chided by Republicans as a rapper. He had done like an album or something, but that was not his main claim to fame. He won. They knocked off the Republican on Staten Island.
That was big.
Yeah, it looks like there would be a little bit of pickup in New Jersey. So I guess kind of the phenomenon of kind of, suburban Republicans, losing. I mean, in suburban Houston, there was a surprising pickup for the Dems in the district that was once represented by George H.W. Bush.
His first, yeah.
Yeah, so it was an interesting night.
Yeah, I think it's funny. I mean, you brought up Texas. Let's go to the painful loss of, right?
But not shocking, right?
Not shocking. He came in closer than I think a lot of people thought. He certainly gave Cruz a run for his money. For the life of me, I don't get Texas. I don't get it. But what was the reason I brought Beto up, or Beto, right? I have never said his name right. Beto, I bring it up now is because it is odd that although he couldn't get over the finish line, a lot of people around him in the area around him, in Houston, whatever, we had those Dem pickups, and I thought, well, that's he did something for the state of Texas.
No, I think that's right. Yeah, I think absolutely.
I mean,
I think he could definitely run for president in 2 years, even though he lost. He ran a very strong race, but it's a changing state, but it's still a conservative state, and it was quite a race.
Well, I'm sad because God, I thought I was going to be so clever. I was going to say to you, the next Democratic ticket was going to be O'Rourke and Andrew Gillum.
Yeah.
Gillum's
I
over.
Hear you.
And
well, as long as we're talking about Gillum,
go for it, baby. You start, and I'll pick up. Go ahead.
Well, I guess I was a little dubious of the claims that he was going to win by a solid majority, but I did think he was going to win, and I believe the polls, and I was surprised that he lost tonight, and I'm also surprised that it looks like Bill Nelson's going to lose, and I don't have a good explanation because it looked like, Gillum was driving up the numbers in South Florida where you need a big Democratic run-up, and then he was doing well enough in the swingy central part of the state, and apparently there wasn't enough. So, but I'm curious your take because you're down there and you've seen a lot.
First of all, the very first thing that I said was the Bradley effect.
Yes.
Okay. So, look, this race came out of the hatch with DeSantis talking about, the monkeys. And it went from that, racist kind of baiting crap down into the mud. And it never got anything but lower and lower and lower into Florida Swampville. Helped, by the way, not just by the president who came down here and kept doing the same kind of, crap. But Marco Rubio played it. They all played it. Every Republican around here started playing it. And, and Trump just fueled them on and off they went. And I think that I have said on the show, and I've said it to you 1,000 times, I didn't think that Nelson ran a decent campaign. I thought he ran a horrid campaign, as a matter of fact. And I said he would never get in on his own. And that he was only going to get there. I said that. We got it on tape.
Absolutely,
right? That
you did.
That the only way he was going to get there if he rode Gillum's coattails. But the fact of the matter is, Barack Obama couldn't save the day. And then I think to myself, having Obama come down here may have also just added insult to the injury at the end, because the racists were just going to get angrier and more hostile and more crazy. So, racism is what did it, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know if you've got your TV on. I don't have mine on right now, but I'm curious as to whether or not what's happening with the Stacey Abrams, because that too is way off the mark of what the polls were showing. And of course, we know what a dirty race that was.
Well, last I checked, it looks like he was going to be able to win, possibly without a runoff. That it was pretty solid.
Right. And that's questionable too, right?
Well, I always thought she had a tougher hill to climb than Gillum did, because she's a woman, and it's Georgia, and, tough.
But the polls were pretty accurate across the country.
Right. So the question is, why were they less accurate here?
In these two particular races.
In these statewide races.
Right. And it's interesting also, because then if you look at Beto's numbers, he came in even closer than they thought.
Right. So your take is that race was the key thing here.
I do believe. The old story about Florida, darling, is this: the further north you go, the further south you go.
Right.
And that's where
Panhandle is super right.
Right, and that's where
Dixie.
And that's where he won the vote. He took it by gargantuan numbers.
Right. I just I know what you're saying about Nelson ran a lousy campaign and thus needed to be somebody to help him over the top.
Right.
But if he had run better than Gillum, that would seem to me to offer more fuel to the idea that race was an issue.
Wait, I'm sorry, you lost me. If Nelson
if Nelson ran well ahead of Gillum, that would have said to me,
I'll tell you why that doesn't work here.
It's not a race problem. It's a Dem problem.
No, I don't think it is a Dem problem. I think it's a race problem, and I'll tell you why I also think it's a race problem with Nelson, because Nelson was non-existent in this campaign. I can't tell you how much I can.
Right.
I can't make that. It's like Nelson who?
Yeah.
There was no. He was completely drowned out by Gillum, and if you looked at them when Obama was here. He looked like this dwarf little old man sitting there, and the camera just was never going to him. The camera kept going to Gillum because Gillum was everything. So I don't even think that Nelson was even and the ticket, as you voted, you just went down Democrat. You didn't even think, oh, it's Nelson. That's how ineffectual and what a the starter he was in all of this. That's why I think that doesn't work. I think that they were together. It was Gillum Nelson. It should have been Nelson Gillum, but it was whatever. So that's my feeling on it, and we're going to find out. We'll see over the next few days what people have to say, but it was it's ugly. It's ugly. But this is Florida, and Florida's weird, and it makes me want to move. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be a part of it. It's so weird to me that in America, in 2018, this is the way it is in some places. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Right.
And it's people who don't tell you that they're really racist. Remember that story I told you a couple of months ago about being in a home at a party with people who I know who are upscale, and they go on their rant about, black folks? Like, stunned me. Like, I had to get up and leave.
Yeah. That's
Florida. All right. Enough with that. Some of the others that Marsha Blackburn run, I think that's really bad. Because I think that woman's got a mouth on her, and I think she's trouble. She's not a person. I mean, she and Trump are like they adore each other. Romney's in.
Yep.
All right. What kind of effect? He's going to be a junior senator, or you think he's going to come out swinging?
That's the thing is he's sort of going to criticize Trump the way he did in 2016 and a little bit in 2017. Well, I don't know. Or is he just going to kind of roll over for Trump? Or be like a Ben Sass, he'll be troubled. Sometimes he'll be deeply troubled, but, he's not going to really do anything. And, what is Trump going to be nice to him, or is Trump going to continue to, bear grudges? I mean, it'll be interesting to watch. And, we'll see.
Another big loss. Go ahead.
He's a very rich man in his mid-60s. He shouldn't really, late 60s now, he shouldn't really, hold anything back. He should just...
But that's always been who he's been, hasn't it?
But that's the thing. He's always been, malleable. And,
he's not a strong man.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so... But he could wield a lot of power if he was smart. I don't know if he's that kind of smart. But talk to me.
Well, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, he's going to get a lot of attention for anything he says about the president, and we'll see what kind of mark he makes.
Another one that's Heitkamp lost. Now, I do want to give her a send up because I think in my lifetime, she may be the only woman senator who ever came forward and actually did something because it was right, knowing it was going to cost her, and it cost her. So I'm on my knees to that woman saying, lady, you're my kind of girl. You stood up for what was right. The most moral woman in Congress is no longer there. It's a shame.
Yeah, I think she genuinely believed, what she said about Kavanaugh, and I think she did take a political risk. I think she might have been doomed anyway, even if she voted for him. But
she was really doomed.
I'm sure it didn't help. And,
it didn't.
It's just amazing how the Dakotas used to have all these Democratic senators.
I know. Look what's happened there.
Majority Leader Tom Daschle, and now it is really, an empty wasteland for Democrats.
Yeah, and that's another thing, because the map is changing, right? I mean, that was one of the things we learned from this. I mean, places like Iowa, Kansas, interesting stuff, right?
Yeah, and I think also, look at, Republican governor of Massachusetts winning with almost 70%.
I know, that's weird to me.
Tonight, and the Republican governor of Maryland. It's, there's some interesting exceptions to the rule out there.
You were listening to The Halli Casser-Jayne Show. The Halli Casser-Jayne Show posts new podcasts Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern at hallicasserjayne.com and is available wherever you listen to your podcasts. Be sure to find me on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, on all your favorite apps. You can find The Halli Casser-Jayne Show on your Alexa device, too. Just say The Halli Casser-Jayne Show. Oh, and come play with me on Twitter at The Halli CJ Show. So the dynamic now, so I didn't see what the count was, but what are we talking now on governorships? What's the count?
I haven't seen the count, but the Dems picked up 2 that were
important.
Michigan was very important because it's a big state, and this gives some leverage going into redistricting and the census in 2020. They Republicans held on to the Ohio governorship. Iowa was still too close to call, and Dems picked up Kansas, beating Chris Kobach.
Yeah, thank God.
Big Trump ally. And, I think the damage that Sam Brownback had done to the state just, finally caught up with the Republicans there.
I think that was interesting, too. Let's go back to West Virginia, where Joe Manchin pulled it off. But I'll tell you, I don't know. I lived there a long time and know a lot of West Virginians, and I've been taking it on the big time because not for him or against him, simply saying he was going to get himself back in. And how many West Virginians said to me, son of a gun, da 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 da. He plays both. And he is, he voted. He's the only one who voted for Kavanaugh.
Well, that's true, but it's an interesting story, right? He ran on the most of his ads this year were about defending Obamacare.
Big issue in West Virginia.
Yeah, exactly, and it would have been very easy for him to become a Republican. He had all these offers for years now to come over to the other side. They'd give him chairmanship. So you have to say it's to his credit that he took the harder path by staying a Democrat. I think Schumer did a lot to help keep him in the Democratic fold. He was one of the few defenders of Al Franken in the Democratic caucus.
Vociferously so. I love that.
Yeah, I think, he's an interesting guy, and he's a big personality there. He was governor, so I kind of thought he'd win. And
I thought he would win, too. What I'm saying to you is, what surprised me is how many West Virginians I've spoken to who aren't his fan. They're all the ones who've gone right wing, and yet he won. So, Senator Byrd, who put him in the seat, is having a happy night tonight, wherever he is.
Wherever he is. And but there was a very interesting candidate, Ojeda, who was running. He was a veteran with lots of tattoos, and he was kind of a Bernie guy, and he was running a very tough race, and it looked like he might pick up a congressional seat. He didn't quite make it.
No. And how about Pete Sessions as we run around the country?
Well, that's interesting. He's the chairman. I think it kind of shakes a party when their chairman get knocked off. Long-standing congressman from the Dallas suburbs, and but became a much more Hispanic district over time, and the clock ran out on him. I think people used to think of those cities as conservative, where the suburbs as conservative in Dallas and Houston, and that's much less the case now.
Yeah. Another thing that I think is interesting, first of all, women, gay women, veterans, Palestinian American, Native American, gay woman, a Muslim woman.
Gay Native Americans, right?
I mean, oh my gosh, of the 14 House seats, this was, I know that number and how it's changed, but where I was when it was 14 House seats that flipped 10 were women. Oh, my gosh. I mean, Trump's going to have a hard time. He doesn't like any of these people.
No. And,
right?
I mean, stars are born, These are good people who are going to be,
And that young thing that young girl got in the socialist in New York, the youngest.
So she's, that'll be fascinating to watch. And
so the face of the Democratic Party is where I want to go with you. Let's talk about. It needs to get younger. It always does, right? To keep a party growing and going. This face of the Democratic Party, Matt, seems to have moved very far left. Even Beto was far left, and certainly Gillum was far left. They didn't all get in, but they are moving the party far left, which may be fine now. How will that play out in 2020? I wanted to throw that out and have you pontificate. What?
I'm always happy to pontificate. I think it's challenging because I do think they need to, activate their people, and they want to try to drive up the base and get more, black voters and young voters and affluent professionals and stuff. But, I think there's still a substantial number of swing voters and moderates out there who are, going to be turned off if they think the party is
too far left,
soft on crime, or if they think the party is weak on national defense, or if they think the party is into crazy socialism or whatever the thing is. I think. I don't know. I think that's a balancing act for anyone who's going to try to run for national office. And, we'll see how Elizabeth Warren and others try to thread the needle on that. It doesn't, I don't know. It doesn't feel like the energy in the party used to sort of be with kind of smart governors or centrists. I don't think anybody really cares, about that anymore. I think the energy is really in these, as you said, the younger and more diverse people who are getting elected.
And that takes us back to Nancy Pelosi, because then you have to think to yourself, she's not a young woman anymore. Where does she fit into the scheme of the things? She becomes the titular head of a party that seems to be all over the map right now.
Well, let's see if she gets there. I mean, I think there's going to be. I think she will. I think there's going to be a challenge to her that may be more substantial this time than the last few times. Well, I have mixed feelings. I think she gets a lot of grief because she's a woman, and there's a lot of sexism. On the other hand, look, for whatever reasons, sexist or not, a lot of people are turned off by her, and, she has been doing this a long time, and, there's a case for someone else coming in.
There's always a case. There's always the younger generation. There's always that. My objection to her.
She's a great talent.
She is a great talent. And no, she's a remarkable talent, and God bless her. We took back the house, and she. How much money did she raise? It was ridiculous amount of money that she brought into the. Machine. I mean, she is a machine, and she did what she set out to do. She won it back. Okay, my issue with her is not that she's a woman, obviously, but my issue is that I think she plays tough when she shouldn't, and she caves when she shouldn't. And she always is off by about 12 steps in that respect. And when you're going up against Trump, and this crazy right-wing machine that is Trumpville these days, I think that's problematic. That's my issue with her. I want her to scream, rant, and rave, and when I want her to do that, she doesn't do it, and it pisses me off.
Yeah, I think there's something to that.
Her timing is just never right. And she's a woman. And, she came up in a time, Matt, when to be a woman, you had to play that. You don't have to do that anymore. My generation doesn't do that. Her generation did. They were mindful of everything that they did because they knew they were carving, new ground, new stakes in the ground, being women. But I think that a younger woman wouldn't be so quick to cave or to want to manipulate or appease or the things that I've watched her do along, when I think that maybe she shouldn't have done that. So that's my argument with her, kind of thing. So what I ask, I bring her up because I say to you, is she now the titular head of the Democratic Party until somebody else is?
Well, she is, and, she's got an opportunity to, make the House, to run the House, and the Speaker has a lot more power than the Senate leaders, and so, it's going to be interesting to see if she, how she if she keeps a light hand on these investigations or pushes them along, or if she reshuffles the leadership so they're not all octogenarians, be interesting to watch. I mean, she's really smart, though. I think she gets a bad rap. I mean, she's a very talented politician.
Yeah. It's not easy being a talented woman politician. You're going to get a bad rap, and that's the way it
totally.
Is. Something that was interesting, and I don't know whether the first polls that come out are relevant to anything, the exit polls. I don't know how you feel about them. So before I go down this road, I want to ask you, how do you feel about exit polls?
Oh, I tend to think they're pretty good generally. I mean, they're very big sample size, and you're not, who voted by the time you're doing an exit poll. You're not like modeling to guess who's going to vote, which is the danger of all polling. And so, I generally think they're a useful instrument. They, they're not perfect. They can be poorly structured or whatever, poorly executed. You send if maybe you send a lot of minority, poll takers out there, and then people react to them differently than they might if someone who's white. So you just don't know. Nothing's perfect, but I tend to. I find them interesting. And
I certainly find them interesting. And there were a couple of interesting things that I wrote down when I was watching, the early stuff that was coming out. And, for instance, the electorate in 2008 was 72% white, 28% non-white. I can't even remember my own writing. And there were, that was in 2008. Things change mightily now, and here's another favorite party: Dems 50 to 46, unfavorable 43-5. Up 4, in other words, this time around. And here's the things that was really struck me. They asked what the important issues were. So I want to talk about this. Healthcare 41%, right? Which tells me, by the way, that although they said the Dems didn't have a message, oh yes, they did.
Right.
Now listen to the next thing on the list: immigration. This is a little startling. Only 23% thought immigration was important. So it went from 41% healthcare to 23% immigration, 21% the economy, and 11% guns. Now that immigration number wouldn't have even been at 23% if he hadn't gone on his rant, Mr. President, the last 2 weeks.
No.
So I say to you, if in fact health care was all important, how many Dems we lost in the state of Florida, for instance, where Medicare and Medicaid and senior citizens, so it doesn't, what's going on?
Yeah, well, you make an excellent point. People can, people can worry about health care, but not all of them are going to worry about it like a Democrat, In other words, the issue's important, but it doesn't mean they're all on the Democratic side of that issue. I think Democrats were smart to do that, to press healthcare more than,
oh, sure. Absolutely.
more than Trumpian corruption.
Yeah, I totally
Russia.
agree. Right. Yeah.
I mean, Russia's kind of been off the radar for weeks now.
Well, yeah, because why make him the reason for people to vote? But that huge thing between the 41% and the 23% on the immigration thing, and that wouldn't have even been that high as I said. And if voters keep voting against their own best interests is where I wanted to go with that. And I think that was really clear.
Oh yeah,
particularly in the red states.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, we saw that with the voters and the governors against Medicare expansion when a lot of people clearly would have benefited from it. It's interesting whether that'll sort of, remain the lineup going into the next election, which, as you said, starts tomorrow or today. Now that we're at midnight.
I mean, it's just so odd, right? It's just so odd. But I wanted to bring that up because I thought in that is, I think, some grist for the middle as we get into that 2020 thing. Because how are they going to play this now? Because in the next 2 years, I don't think anything's going to get done in the next 2 years about anything, do you? I mean, that's my take.
No, I don't.
Nothing major. I mean, they're not going to be able to do anything, messing with healthcare per se or anything else. I don't think the Dems going to give them that kind of win. But as we go, as we go further down the line, as we get into this 2020 thing, then all these conversations come back up again, and I'm going to be curious as to how you play it. We do have our first sort of nominee from the Democratic Party for 2020, even though it doesn't begin for another 3 minutes. I'm looking at 11:57 my time.
Yes.
And that's Mike Bloomberg.
Well, yes, does he jump in this time?
I mean, that ad that he put up there
certainly seems like a guy who wants to.
Well, it certainly seems like it was his opening salvo.
No question. Or, does he want to be like, independent with John Kasich or something? I don't know.
They can't win. An independent can't win.
No.
He's got to go. They go in all the way, or they don't go in.
But I don't think this party would nominate Mike Bloomberg.
Really?
They could. I just don't think he's liberal enough. He's Mr. Stop and Frisk. I mean, I think all that stuff, the fiscal conservatism, the stop and frisk, the crime stuff. I think I don't think he'd. It's De Blasio's party more than Mike Bloomberg's party. And so, he can have an influence on debates, but you see where the energy in this party is. It's not with guys, like him.
So I think the argument becomes, is it or isn't it? That's the thing. How far left can the party go? Two men who went very, very far left, and both of them almost got there, but they didn't get there. Gillum and the other guy. Young kids got there by going that far left. I just don't know, and I just think it's great. It's something for us to be thinking about as we go along.
The ideal Democratic nominee now is like a woman veteran who's for Medicare for all.
I don't think a woman.
Well, that's true. I mean, to get the nomination, I think it's a big handicap in the general.
Yeah, you can't. You can't run another woman. I'm sorry, you can't. You can't. Not yet. Not yet. I hate to say it, but not yet.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
I don't know what you do about that, because I think that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Because that's a mess.
Shouldn't be that way.
Yeah. Did McCaskill, do you know if she got in?
That's
where I left it.
No resolution. Halli looked like he was doing pretty well when I last checked.
Yeah, me too.
When we started, but if I had to bet, Halli's going to beat her. It's just, again, it's one of those states. Clinton won it twice, but Dems haven't won it since '96, and it's just gotten a lot redder.
I'm not her biggest fan anyway. I will never forget what she did to Hillary. Kristen Sinema is another one we want to see. Joe Donnelly went down. I think that was a big surprise.
Well, Sinema would be fascinating.
Yeah.
I think Sinema is a very interesting,
kind of thing. So as we finish this up, this unbelievable, it's over. I mean, the midterms are over.
It's over.
And we go forward. So The one other thing that I wanted to talk about was very quickly I had to mention was this voter suppression thing. And I do think that is not something that people should just forget about tomorrow. I think that needs to be explored. I think there's some ugly crap that went on there. And I think that had a huge effect. The good news also, let me just throw this out there, because if this had happened last time, Florida restored the felon vote, which is going to bring about 1.4 million voters back into the vote, which is part of all of that garbage, voter suppression. So, but I do think that played a big part in a number of races around here, and I wanted to say we were cognizant of it, and I think it's a conversation to follow up in the future. But as we look for where are you now? What's on your mind now after we've discussed all of this and we're finishing it up? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking there's, now we see what the resistance looks like. I mean, or the real, the practical fallout of the resistance, right? We've seen these demonstrations, and now we're seeing what it looks like, and it's a mixed bag, and it's going to be interesting to see if people still have the same energy to kind of keep pushing next time and the time after that. So I'll be fascinated to sort of see what happens next.
So what do you think they did wrong?
Dems?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know that they did that much wrong. I mean, I guess they're, I don't know if Bob Graham's daughter who ran for governor on the Democratic side would have won. I can, did they pick people who were too liberal to win? I don't think so. I think those
too
were
black.
Tough racist.
I'm sorry.
Or maybe too female would have been a problem. Has Florida elected a statewide female? Maybe the Secretary sprays.
Well, yeah, what's her face?
Catherine Harris.
Yeah, Bondi, and there are a lot of women up there.
Bondi, yeah. Well,
I mean, they're not in, but I mean, everybody knows who they are. I don't think women in this state would be a matter of fact, the woman whose name for the life of me, I want to say Taylor, but it's not, who actually nobody ever gives her, other than in Florida, to talk about, is this old lady who is with the NRA. She owns all of Tallahassee.
Right.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I've read about her.
Right. Well,
I can't remember the name.
She runs. She is Florida. She's kind of croak soon. God help me for saying it that way, but forgive me. But she runs Florida. She's a woman. I don't think that's a problem in this state so much as I do think the issue of the color of your skin is.
Sad that that's the case.
I know, it's very sad that's the case. So you don't know that they did anything utterly wrong.
It's tough. I mean, I just think some of these states are just tough to get over the line, but Democrats gave it a pretty valiant effort, certainly in Texas. But those are in Heitkamp and others, but those are, we got a lot of conservatives in the country, and they think they're often clustered together.
Well, they're totally clustered together. I guess my thought is this: that they took back the House, and that was the goal, and that's a hell of an achievement in this crazy climate that we're living in. So I think that's a
lot of gerrymandering.
But what I'm very worried about is this: I think that Dems are exhausted. And the fight's just really beginning, by the way. And I'm worried about the fact that they don't understand, because they're not, that they don't understand what a huge achievement this was. And what if they lost a couple of seats in the Senate, that was gerrymandering. That had absolutely nothing to do with,
right.
anything other than that. But the House, that was a huge achievement. And I don't want Dems and the resistance to go, we failed again. And I felt a wave. I'm going to be honest with you. I felt a wave come over me that I had to go, wait a minute. No, you didn't get Beto in, and you didn't get Gillum in, and God, you're going to be stuck with Rick Scott, the zombie. What an awful, and this idiot who I'm not even going to say his name, the new governor of Florida. He is such a moron. It's beyond. I mean that literally. He's not a bright man. But I just don't want Dems to get that wave running over them, so that they get like hooked into an undertow of defeat. That would be really bad. And
No.
so somebody needs to gin up the Democratic Party. They did achieve something amazing, and I think it's going to be really. And I think they have a check on Mr. Trump now. That can only be a good thing.
It is. It's how our system is, and it's. I think it'll be better for everyone.
Right, and we didn't have it before. Okay, darling.
Exactly. All right, dear.
It's always swell.
Till next time.
Till next time.
All right. Rest up.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Halli Casser-Jayne Show. The Halli Casser-Jayne Show is a production of Resec, LLC. Be sure to tune in to the Halli Casser-Jayne Show at hallicasserjayne.com or listen on your favorite app. New podcasts are posted Wednesdays, 3 p.m. Eastern.